Hello YouTube. Today what I'm doing is I'm going to upgrade the solid state hard drive and put a new battery in my late 2013 MacBook Pro 13-inch with Retina display. So I've got the computer here. I bought the kits from OWC, Otherworld Computing. MacSales.com is the address for that site. I bought a 1 terabyte solid state drive. That's right here. I think that was about $319. It came with this external exclosure that I'm going to place my old hard drive into to be able to migrate all of my data from one drive to the other. It came with these two screwdrivers, the pentalobe screwdrivers, a couple of 3 screws. One is to hold the drive into the enclosure. The other 2 are to put here, and then a little foot pad to glue on there as well, or to stick on there rather. So that's what came with that. I've got my battery pack. That came with these cards here for removing the battery, this little plastic pry bar tool, this business that you're going to lay down to keep glue from getting on your monitor. It also came with these 2 screwdrivers and some safety glasses, some gloves, and some adhesive remover for the battery. You'll see where that comes into play a little bit later on, because the battery is actually glued to the inside of the case. I suspect this is going to be the most difficult part to do, is to remove the old battery to get the new one ready. The new one just has double-sided tape on it, so it will just stick in when you've got the other one out. But the hard drive is going to be super simple. I've already watched the videos on the MacSales.com website, so I know what I'm in for. There's just 1 screw that holds the hard drive in place. That's going to be simple. The battery, removing that is going to be the most difficult part. So let's get to it. So as mentioned before, the first thing I'm going to do is fold this out, lay it down so that it covers this whole area. And that's going to be so I don't get any adhesive on my screen or anything. Next, let's go ahead and flip your MacBook over and start removing the screws. The videos say to start with these 2 screws and then remove the other ones afterward. These first 2 screws are a different size, so I'm keeping them in a different area from the rest of the screws. Once you've got your screws off, this back piece should just pop right out. There we go. So step 1 of this process is to go ahead and actually disconnect your battery. To do that, I'm just lifting straight up on the battery connection point. Come on, that actually didn't work. So I'm going to pry up from the side right here. I just peeled off a protective film, it looks like. The battery's still actually plugged in. Try going from this direction. Okay, there we go. So prying from that angle actually worked better. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, it looks like, but so I've got that removed. I think since I've already got the battery disconnected, I'm going to go ahead and do my hard drive. that's one of the most simple parts. So again, there's just one screw right here. I'm going to remove that one screw. And I did make a backup with Time Machine before removing this hard drive, just in case. I don't anticipate having any issues. I mean, it's pretty simple to remove it. And then you're just going to pop the new one in. So I expect all my data to remain intact on this drive, and I'm going to be able to put it in my enclosure. However, I did go ahead and make a backup with Time Machine just to be on the safe side. This is pretty straightforward. It's going to go in the same way the other one came out. So make sure you're paying attention to which side is the longer side. So in this case, it's going to be like this. I'm just going to place it back in. It really only fits one way. Just kind of wiggle it so it goes back down into the slot. Make sure it's fully seated. And then you're going to put your screw back in. So there you go. The hard drive's done. That easy. The rest of it is doing the battery. And actually, I'm going to set my computer aside for a moment because I'm going to go ahead and install my hard drive in my external enclosure here. Because I do want to make sure that this thing is safe. I want it to be inside my enclosure. And this is just the same as placing it back on the logic board. So you're just going to kind of make sure it seats in there. You're going to use your screws provided to secure it. So there's going to be 3 different screws. Obviously, the 2 that are alike are going to be the ones that hold the case together. The one that's different is going to be the one that holds your hard drive in position. So that is secure. Go ahead and place the lid on your enclosure. Slide it over to lock it in position. Place the 2 screws in. So the hard drive is now in the enclosure and protected. I'm going to set that aside, get it out of the way for now. So next comes the fun part, removing the old battery. So what you've got to do is remove the 3 screws that hold each, hold on, can't see everything. You're going to want to remove this 3 screws here, which hold each speaker in position on both sides, and kind of move the speakers up and out of position. Then there are going to be 5 screws on my model that hold the battery in position. You've got one up here, one here, 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 and here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all those screws, get everything ready. So it actually looks like this screw here is a little shorter than the other 2 screws. So just be aware of which ones have come out of which slot. So actually it looks like there are not screws holding this in here on my model. The website said that there would be screws there holding it in position, but I do not see them here on mine. So again, I'm going to go ahead and pop my speakers out of position, being very careful with them. Just get them out of the way. And then I'm going to remove this one screw holding the battery in right up here. And this is also a shorter screw, it looks like, just like the one that came out of here. So from here, it's a matter of using the adhesive remover to remove the backing of the batteries. So the website said to take 1/4 of 1 millimeter. So this is in milliliter increments here. Milliliters or cc's, if I can get it to focus on this. So yeah, I'm having trouble getting the camera to focus. So you can see it has half, 1, 2. So you want right about there, kind of midway between the 0.5 mark. That's how much you want to put underneath each one of these battery cells. And you want to let it sit for about 1 minute, they said. Be careful not to spill this on your computer. Be very careful with it. So it said to start from this outside cell, make your way, do these two, then these two, and then the two center ones is what the website said to do. So I'm going to follow exactly the instructions from the website. And while that's setting up, I'm going to put the lid back on here just to make sure I don't spill it. Okay, so after about a minute, what you want to do is go ahead and take one of these hard cards that it came with, that your kit came with, and start attempting to stick it underneath your battery cell here. There we go. That actually seems to have worked pretty well. I'm going to try to do it without the adhesive because it seems like it's coming off pretty easy. Or without the adhesive remover, I should say. If I can keep those chemicals out of my computer, I would prefer that. Looks like a little bit of it. Maybe you've made it underneath there. You probably should be wearing your goggles and gloves at this point as well. I like to live dangerously, so I'm not. So there we have it. These two cells are out. I'm going to try to work this side just with the card without the remover. See what happens. Be very careful where you're placing your hands up here. You don't want to damage any of these components. So it looks like I can do this without the adhesive remover, but it seems that it does work better with it. So I'm going to use the adhesive remover once again. Actually, I'm going to place a very small amount right on this little piece that's stuck here because I want to get everything off as well. Before you put your new battery in, you want to make sure that all of the old stuff is off. So once you have the outer 4 removed, it's time to remove the inner 2. And the way the videos on the website said to do it was to work from the center. So I'm going to put a little bit of my adhesive remover right down that center crack there. I'm going to give that a minute to set up. Okay, so after giving that some time to set up, you're going to start working from the center get these batteries out of the center. Okay, so it looks like I've got that one. I'm going to work on the other one. Sorry for the camera angle there. Not much I can do about that. Oh, I guess I could turn my computer so you can see it. But I'm just doing the same thing I did on the other side, which is just working this hard card right in there. Trying to get a good camera angle for you guys. But I'm starting with the corner first, trying to shove the corner in, get that underneath. That's kind of been my method with each of these. You want to avoid trying to bend the battery cell pack, because if you bend it, you run the risk of it possibly catching fire and everything. Because there are the layers of the lithium ion and everything in there. If those layers make contact with each other, it can be explosive. So that's why they give you these cards to try to push underneath the battery, and so you can remove the battery packs without bending or breaking the actual battery pack, because that would be bad. So I think I've just about got this work loose. So I'm going to turn it back around this way. And see if it'll lift out. I think I may have to work from this angle just a little. Yeah, it's still stuck a little bit from this angle. There we go. So there we have it. Your old battery pack is out. I'm going to set that aside. The next thing I'm going to work on is cleaning up all this. You want to get all this stuff out of here, all this sticky stuff, before you start to go put your new battery in. So to do that, I'm going to take a bit of this adhesive remover and just place it on the spots where there's some of the sticky stuff remaining. That way it starts loosening that stuff up. And again, I'm going to be very careful with this stuff. I don't want to put too much and have it go all over all the components of my computer. Very, very carefully. You just need just a little bit of this. You don't need much at all. So very carefully, and you see how it kind of wants to spray out quickly, so just very gently apply this stuff. Like I said, you don't want to overdo it. Just let that soak in for a minute. So after letting the solution soak in for a minute, I'm going to come back with my hard card and attempt to remove it. Actually, just using my fingers seems to work better. But do that at your own risk, because this stuff is probably pretty caustic to your skin. And depending on your sensitivity to stuff like this, your skin may have a reaction to it. So just be aware. So now I've got all the actual adhesive strips removed. I'm just going to put a little bit of that solution on a napkin here, or a paper towel that's folded up rather. And I'm just going to try to wipe out some of that extra adhesive that's there. And again, I'm going to use my little syringe to deal with this stuff. I just want a little bit, just enough to get on the paper towel. Just to kind of wet it in. And then I'm going to come in and just kind of try to get that adhesive out of there. So I've got most of this stuff out of here. I'm satisfied with what I've got going on. So the next step is to insert my new battery. The way I'm going to do that is just remove the adhesive backing here. This paper backing. Revealing the adhesive. I'm going to do that for all of these areas here that have the paper on them. And I'm going to stick my battery in position. So you can kind of see where it goes. You want it. Oh, come on, this little thing stuck to my finger. You want this to line up here, your screw hole to line up there, and these two little parts to kind of go where these screws look like they would go. And that's basically it. Just start pushing it down in position once you've got it where you want it. And I'm going to go ahead and reinsert my plug. That's a simple just push in. Make sure you get it in the right position and then just give it a good little push. I'm going to reinstall my screw that goes here, which is one of my shorter ones that I have. Again, make sure you're keeping track of all your screws. Place this back in position. So after you've got your battery screwed back in, the next thing is to start placing your speakers back in position, making sure that on this side you get it underneath this little flap here. And making sure not to bend up your connections too much. Your wires that are here, be very gentle with those. So the next thing is go ahead and insert your screws for the speakers. I put the two longer ones in first, and then I'm going to put the shorter one in. And actually, I've made a mistake because the long one doesn't go here. That's where the short one goes. So there we go. And then we'll put our short one right here. Kind of difficult to see for you. Right there. That's where we'll place the short one. Same thing on the other side. Short one on the very front of the computer. There we go. Same thing on the other side. So again, double check, make sure your connection is made. It looks like we're good. Go ahead and give this one final little press to get everything, make sure everything's down in position. And then you're going to reinstall your back cover. Okay. So just lay the cover in position and give it a little bit of a press in the middle here to get it to click back into position. There we go. And then reinstall your screws. Start with the longer screws around the edge, finishing with the shorter ones at the top. So now you're all done. Make sure you follow the manufacturer's recommendations for charging your battery. The next thing you're going to do is go ahead and get your operating system installed. I was just going to install it over the air, over the internet, get it to connect to my Wi-Fi, and then I was going to use my backup unit, or my backup hard drive, I should say, to go ahead and restore everything. I'm not going to walk you through that process. That's pretty straightforward. I just wanted to show you the hardware aspect of it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will also do a review on this stuff and let you know how everything's working and how I'm liking everything. Thank you again, YouTube.